Welcome to the Michigan Works Association 2021 Annual Conference. My name is Lily Brewer, and I am the Executive Director of Michigan Works Berrien, Cass, and Van Buren. On behalf of the staff at the association and all of our sponsors, we thank you for being a part of the conference in this session titled Career Navigator Professional Development Series and Overview. Please be sure to visit the exhibitor booths during the designated exhibit hall times. And before we begin today's session, there's a few housekeeping items I'd like to share with you. One, please make sure your audio is muted. There will be questions and answers during the session. Please put in your questions in the chat, and those will be answered by the presenters as we move along throughout the presentation. We're eager to get your feedback about the conference and the session, so please take a few moments to complete the short survey. The link of the survey has been posted in the chat area. I will post it one more time at the end so it's easily accessible. And presentations will be available post-conference on the Michigan Works Association website, so please be sure to visit that for the material once we conclude. And now I would like to introduce you to our speakers for this session, Erica Luce, Senior Instructional Designer with the State of Michigan, and Shana McCarran, EDSI. Ladies.
All right. Thank you so much, Lily. Good afternoon, everyone. As Lily just mentioned, I'm Erica Luce, the manager of the Office of Adult Education within the Michigan Department of Labor and Economic Opportunity Workforce Development. And I just want to first thank you all for joining us for this session this afternoon. I know you had a number of great options, so we're going to do our best to make this session worth your time. I'm honored to be joined by my colleague, Shana McCarran, the Senior Instructional Designer with EDSI. Shana was instrumental and led the development of the Career Navigator Professional Development Series that we're going to be providing an overview of this afternoon. But before I turn it over to Shana, I just wanted to start and give you a brief introduction of the adult education services in Michigan and how recent changes and the launch of new initiatives have brought career navigation to the forefront for our office. And so if you attended the session that Northwest Michigan Works did this morning on collaborating to support education and training for adult education participants, or I'm sure with other adult education sessions that are offered during the conference, I think this is a theme that you're going to hear over and over again. So Shana, can you advance? Thank you. So the adult education system in Michigan is funded with federal funds under Title II of the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act and with state funding through State School Aid Section 107. At its core, the purpose of adult education is to improve the quality of life for adults with low basic skills. And through that, adult education provides a number of critical services with the goal of improving access to further education, training, and employment opportunities. And so first and foremost, in adult education, we assist adult learners with literacy and numeracy instruction to obtain the skills and knowledge for employment and economic self-sufficiency. The key adult education services under this first umbrella are adult basic education for our low-level learners, high school completion for those that want to earn a high school diploma, and high school equivalency test preparation for those that choose to take the GED or HiSET exam. And then we also offer remediation or adult secondary education for those with a diploma. Whoa, sorry for that thunderstorm outside. There's also remediation or adult secondary instruction for those that have a diploma but are not ready for that post-secondary level coursework. Secondly, adult education supports the education and skill development of parents and family members so that they can participate in the educational development of their children. And so this critical service is offered through family literacy programs that many adult education providers across the state offer. And then adult education also assists immigrants and English language learners in improving their English language skills and understanding the rights and responsibilities of citizenship. And so these services are offered through English as a second language or ESL classes. And then we also have integrated English literacy and civics education, which has become known as the IELCE program that supports this goal as well. And then finally, adult education assists incarcerated individuals in strengthening their knowledge and skills to promote successful reentry into society. And so our office partners with the Michigan Department of Corrections to offer corrections education programs in the state prisons. And then many of our local adult education providers offer programming in county jails across the state. And so as you see noted, through all of these key services, adult education is one step along the pathway to additional education, training, or employment. It's not in and of itself intended to be an ending point. In her first State of the State address, Governor Whitmer set a goal to increase the number of Michiganders with a post-secondary credential from currently 45% to 60% by 2030. And this is commonly referred to as the 60 by 30. In support of 60 by 30, there have been a couple of new state initiatives that have created opportunities and scholarships for adult learners, specifically Futures for Frontliners and Michigan Reconnect. So I've also included the special programs under Section 107 on this slide here. And so while this program was launched prior to 60 by 30, it really has a similar mission in that it allows adult education participants an opportunity to take CTE courses at career tech centers. And unfortunately, while we don't have time to discuss each of these programs in detail, I did want to make sure that you have a general understanding of each program. And so I just wanted to touch on Path 2 of the Futures for Frontliners Scholarship Program that supports our frontline workers in their attainment of a high school diploma or its recognized equivalent, as well as in the pursuit of in-demand industry-recognized certificates or credentials available at a Michigan Training Connect or MyTC skills training program or an associate degree through one of Michigan's community colleges. And then the Reconnect program also provides scholarship opportunities for our adult learners that are 25 or over once they earn that high school diploma or equivalency. And so with the state's additional investment in training and post-secondary education, it became critically important for our office to make sure that adult learners were receiving career guidance and support in determining that next best step for them. And so our office worked with EDSI, who's our contracted partner in the delivery of professional development for adult education administrators, teachers, and staff. And so as we were preparing to launch the Futures for Frontliners program in September of 2020, professional development for our Career Navigators became a priority for the 2020-21 program year as well. And so I'm now going to turn it over to Shayna to go through the Career Navigator professional development series that we created. Shayna, I'll let you take it away.
Sorry, I lost my controls for a second. My name is Shayna McCarran. I do work with EDSI, and we've been partnering with Michigan Adult Ed for, I think, like almost 2 years now. Just a bit about me personally. I've been with EDSI for 20 years, and I actually cut my teeth as a career coach. So I was a career coach and worked in a pretty large workforce development office for about 10 years. I wound up kind of moving and becoming a supervisor and then a manager. After I stopped being a manager of a workforce development center, I wound up in the world of adult ed. So when I had the opportunity to work in the sphere of Career Navigator, I was really excited because it really speaks to kind of the experience that I had across my career. So when we started the Career Navigator, when we started to develop this Career Navigator professional development series, the first thing that I really wanted to know was, what is a Career Navigator and what was a Career Navigator specifically in Michigan? So I talked to navigators across the state about the work that they were doing. I kind of talked to them about what I was thinking as far as competencies that I wanted to try to hit within the design of the professional development. And I also talked to them about the great work that they've done and that they were doing kind of, in the past, in the future. And what I quickly found out was there are very wide regional differences in what career navigators are called, what roles they have, what responsibilities they have, and what services they provide. So what I set out to do was really
Oh, Shayna,
Okay,
I think
Shayna,
you
you
actually
muted yourself.
yeah.
Excellent. Everything's going great. So what I tried to do was set out to develop a professional development experience for career navigators to meet them where they are and to provide some skills and some knowledge and to frame concepts in a way that would be relevant for any person that is doing career navigator type services. So the focus is assisting students navigate those systems, some of the complicated processes to really access education, to access whether that education is post-secondary, college, vocational training, and ultimately develop those appropriate career pathways, career goals, and action steps. What I found across the state was that that student-centered approach was particularly important, that the work was all kind of geared and the services were really about helping that student find the right fit and the right placement for them and making sure that they were making informed choices, that they had all of the information they needed to ensure that whatever their career pathway held was the right choice for them. And so that is really how I wanted to tie together this professional development experience. So before we go on, I just want to hear from the folks here, many of whom are doing kind of that career coach, career advisor, academic advisor, career coach, career navigator role. What are some of the most important services that you think a career navigator provides to students? So if you could just use that chat function, from the work that you're currently doing, what are some of those most important services that a career navigator or career coach or an academic advisor provides to students? Am I getting anything in the chat? Thanks, Dan. Yeah, absolutely. Job search assistance comes to immediately top of mind. Lily, thank you. Information on high demand occupations. That's a huge one. Not only providing the information, but also providing some experience around how to research that information. Absolutely. Connecting students with information that will ensure their success. Absolutely. A listing of available programming options and resources for potential training, further training opportunities, and even one step further than that, connecting folks across systems, I think is a really important piece of that career navigator role. Teresa, assistance with resume building, interview skills, absolutely. Providing not only that assistance, but some experience. Yeah, career assessment. Absolutely. All of those are different facets and different services that career navigators do provide. Now, what are some current gaps in services do you think that exist? So where are those gaps in the services that career navigators provide to students that you see or that you have seen? Language barriers, absolutely. Along with language barriers, I would also say kind of some of the cultural differences. Are there any other kind of gaps in services? Again, I think that this really, those gaps in services, I think really differ regionally and depending on what the scope of service a career navigator provides. Connecting students with key partners and programs. Yeah, absolutely. So sometimes there are, what we want to do is kind of like seamlessly connect some of those services. And if those services aren't kind of seamlessly connected, if there are gaps in services between adult ed and Michigan Works or between adult ed and partner agencies, that is going to cause a little bit of a speed bump or a gap in service for that student. Absolutely. So one of the things, thank you for participating in the chat. I know that's always, sometimes you just want to kind of get the information. So I really appreciate you engaging. So one of the things that I really wanted to do with this Career Navigator series was to provide information in a way that was hit all of the facets. So in so many ways, the role of a career navigator is huge. They wear many hats. They do assessments. They connect people with, they connect students with information. They provide guidance around what training opportunities exist. They connect them with funding opportunities. They address barriers, connecting them with partner agencies that can provide those supportive services. So I knew that this professional development series needed to be comprehensive enough to really hit each one of those facets, but also not overwhelming and kind of easily digestible. I also wanted it to be pertinent if you had been in the field for 10 years, 20 years, and also helpful if you're brand new. So one of the things that the Career Navigator series does is to provide that concrete guidance to help navigators really wrap their heads around all of the facets needed to set those realistic career goals with students, to partner with students and develop action plans. We knew that we needed to support the key state priorities. So making sure that we were providing the tools that were going to really take career navigators to the level that they needed to be to connect students and ensure that they were successful in meeting and accessing some of those opportunities. We knew that we wanted to make sure that we were increasing the likelihood of long-term success and career satisfaction of students. And we were going to try to align services and specifically the language that career navigators or people doing career navigator functions to provide the career navigation services in adult education statewide. Another kind of sub bullet of that is really to think about aligning services and language with partner agencies, specifically Michigan Works, to support students and to connect students to the resources they need to be successful in that long-term career, accessing training, accessing post-secondary, accessing vocational training. So I'm going to pause very quickly just to make sure that there are no questions.
I didn't see any in the chat so far, Sheena.
Awesome. Thank you, Erica. So the Career Navigator Professional Development Series was really developed to align to a core competency framework. And within that core competency framework, there are 10 core competency areas. And these competency areas are relevant no matter what your job title is, no matter what your job responsibilities are. If you are doing career navigator type of work, career coaching, academic advising, career counseling, those are competency areas that will be important for you to be able to provide those student-centered services. Now, it's important to mention that these core competencies are obviously not siloed. They fit together, and we've done our best to tease apart each one of these core competency areas to focus in on specific concepts, specific knowledge, and skills that are aligned to the competency areas, but also to kind of situate each one of those competencies and the information in each one of these courses in the larger scope of the Career Navigator's complete kind of job responsibilities. So let's take a look at the overall program design, and then I want to just briefly go over the individual courses that are within the program. So the Career Navigator Professional Development Series is actually a program. There are 10 individual courses that are, again, aligned to each one of those core competency areas. The courses are designed in a way to allow individual participants to engage at a level of participation that is appropriate for them. So meaning this is not necessarily a cohort style program. It is possible for someone who has been in the field for a long time to say, you know, I'm really interested in the third course that focuses in on kind of building community partnerships, because I know that that's a kind of an area that I want to grow professionally, but I don't really need the communication course. And so they're able to take the courses that will most help them grow as a professional. They do not have to take all of the courses, though. If someone is new, brand new to adult education, brand new to career coaching, career navigation, they may decide to take all 10 courses. And each of those 10 courses will be a little bit self-referential, provide a lot of resources and tie back to previous courses, but they don't directly build on one another. And that design was very much on purpose. All of the courses are self-paced and they're available on demand. That means that for especially busy professionals, especially kind of in the current age of working from home, being pulled back into class, and then being sent back to home, when they find those pockets of time, they're able to kind of work at their own pace. They're able to review material more than once. So that's a really nice feature. Each course takes about 3 hours. Some take a little bit longer depending on how in depth you get in the kind of digging through the resources that are provided. I do facilitate and moderate all of the courses. So I am in the course definitely every week, usually about twice a week, responding, grading. I carry on a lot of email technical assistance outside of the courses. So it is nice to have someone, it's not totally self-paced, it is moderated. And the moderation and the kind of participant touches are pretty frequent. So it is the whole course, or the whole program is sketch eligible. Each individual course, so all 10 courses, are eligible for those continuing education credits, and those can be used for either teacher or counselor recertification. And each course is up to 3 sketches. A person can earn up to 3 sketches for each course. And finally, I found that a lot of folks are not necessarily taking advantage of the sketch, but I wanted to recognize the achievement of working your way through the professional development courses. So each course you will get a badge for course completion. And a lot of times you can post that directly onto your LinkedIn. And this also provides information if you need to report back to kind of your program administration about the professional development work that you're doing on your own. I'm going to get into what the courses actually look like and how they're aligned to the core competency framework, but I just wanted to pause for a second. I know that was a lot of information. Are there any questions? Are there any comments till this point?
Nope, at this point, there are no questions in the chat.
Erica, did you have anything that you wanted to add?
No, I don't think at this point. I think, you covered it as far as the options and flexibility that we were intentional in how we developed the series, especially over the last year. The only thing that I would maybe add is that going forward, we have been looking at some feedback of other ways, especially as we may be able to do more in person, that may be an option we'll try to utilize going forward. But yes, like you said, very intentional to try and meet professionals where they were over this last year.
Awesome. Thank you. So let's take a look at what the courses look like, how they align to the core competencies, and how they both stand alone and also can potentially build on one another. So we start out with Career Navigator 1 that really focuses in on those theoretical foundations. We talk a lot about strength-based coaching. We introduce a framework for organizing and thinking about how we're providing services called the 3I process. It is a pretty active, flexible approach. And 3I process and the strength-based coaching does appear kind of throughout the series, as those are kind of the bedrock, the foundation of providing Career Navigator services that really work and that really are kind of student-centered and really focus on promoting the students' future success. The second of the Career Navigator series is focused and aligned to that problem-solving competency. So we talk a lot about problem-solving from that strength-based approach. We talk about problem-solving from a strength-based perspective that I think for many career navigators, even those that have been in the field for a long time, is a new way to approach. So thinking about continuing to partner with students and really focus on skill building, even through kind of the problem solving process. This course is actually also has a lot about funding options and problem solving for financial, to pay for training, basically. We knew that this was a priority of specifically futures for frontliners. So we wanted to really front load that in the Career Navigator series. So there's a lot of information about completing the FAFSA, working with students to understand the process, and all of the other options for funding that exist. The third course aligns with that referral competency. We really get into addressing student challenges and barriers, talk a lot about kind of those persistence and retention strategies. And the final webinar in this course is really around building those collaborative partnerships, which I know when I was a career coach was a place that I just felt like I had so much to do that it was just like an extra thing. So this is really a practical way to prioritize which partners you need to create relationships with, and providing a process and some tools for career navigators to actually start that process. Career Navigator 4 is all about communication. So building rapport, engaging students, going over some specific active listening techniques, using reflections, using high gain questioning during motivational interviewing, and constructive confrontation. Career Navigator 5, I think, is so crucial. And that one's really around using occupational information and labor market data. It aligns with that research competency. And this course really focuses on providing hands-on experience using the tools that are used both nationally, so obviously like ONET, but also really focusing in on using Michigan-specific information to provide important information to students about local labor market trends and how to use that in career coaching, career navigation. We also have a huge, like a whole module that is around kind of aligning with Michigan Work Services. So talking specifically to a career coach from a Michigan Works office, Patty Higgins from the state office, and also an adult education provider to share best practices and to share different perspectives around how to best collaborate, how to best coordinate these services. Now, every course is really built to present information and resources, but within the course, within the learning management system, there are also opportunities. There's obviously opportunities to check for understanding through quizzes, but there's also really important exercises around practical application. How can we actually use the tools and the knowledge and the skills to provide services to students? So just moving on, Career Navigator 6 is aligned with the assessment competency. I know that that was brought up. We talk about the importance of using skills assessment, interest inventories, and work values assessments. What are they? Why are they important? How to synthesize that information and use that to effectively goal set and build those career pathways. Career Navigator 7 is aligned to that teaching competency. I think that for career navigators, sometimes this is an important competency that is not necessarily explicitly thought about. So we talk a lot about using adult learning theory and coaching and learning styles to really provide information in a way that students are able to remember and use. Career Navigator 8 is tracking student progress and outcomes. It's aligned with a referral competency. It is kind of the less glamorous side of career navigation. It is really about kind of how do we track student outcomes and program performance, writing case notes, keeping progress notes, and time management. This course is actually really, I think, unique and has a very nice feature at the end. State staff presents around some of presents a couple recorded webinars around state priorities and how the state recommends using tracking progress. Career Navigator 9 is really pulling everything together. It's all about career pathways, facilitating goal setting. So it's really thinking about how do we partner with students? How do we build those appropriate career pathways? What are the important components? And how do we use student action plans or individualized employment plans? And then finally, Career Navigator 10 is all about kind of the reflection piece. So we've been through potentially all of these courses, and this is really around kind of providing tools for career navigators to reflect on their own professional growth, where they are strongest, where they need work, and what are some resources that they can access. So that is the 10 courses that are involved in this series, in the program. Just some information, as of July 1st, 2021, we've had 170 folks enrolled. 46 have completed a course. Many of those folks are completing multiple courses as well. We've had a pretty decent overall course rating, so 4.4 out of 5 stars, and the facilitator rating 4.7 out of 5 stars. Just a little bit of a humble brag. Here are some quotes pulled from the evaluation data. So the modules are really life-based, real life-based with good examples. The information was presented with links, videos, examples. It covered the skills that I need to improve. And really, all of the information is rooted in those real life situations. I try to make sure that all of the information that's presented is presented in a way that folks taking the course can feel like they can immediately practice. So there's nothing that's overly academic. If anything is presented, it's always presented in a way that is very much, how are you going to use this to enhance your current services? How are you going to professionally grow in order to be more effective with students? So that brings us to how do you, if you're interested in accessing this, how can you access a Career Navigator series? And so the Career Navigator series is located on the adult education new LMS. And so you do have the opportunity to access this yourself. I just dropped the information on how to access the catalog page into the chat. So when you access that link, you will be brought to a screen that looks like this. You will see up at the top, there is a clickable link to get a free account. You do want to request a free account. When you click that link, it'll take you to a survey. The survey is only a couple questions, and it only will take you a few minutes. It is free, and you will get the login credentials emailed to you within 48 hours. And to be honest, that's pretty generous. Most of the time, you'll get it within the same working day.
Sheena, can I just add something on the
I would love
access? That. Sure. And I was just going to add here, as Sheena mentioned, this is the new learning management system that we created for professional development for the adult education administrators, teachers, and staff. But this is also available to Michigan work staff. As you know, our professional development is funded with WIOA funds, and one of our key priorities and actually responsibilities is to ensure alignment with other core programs within the workforce system. And so that's where it's not necessarily a free to anyone out there, but it is free to Michigan work staff and adult education programs in Michigan, because we think that this is a good way for us to help align the systems that we offer in the programming.
Thanks, Erica. I probably should have been more specific when I talked about that. The other thing that I just wanted to mention is that there are other courses that you will also have access to. Much of the programming is focused on adult education, but there is definitely, this provides a really interesting and unique opportunity to really align Michigan Work Services with adult education in a really unique, interesting way. So one of the features that is in definitely all of the Career Navigator courses is our discussion boards. And so in thinking about opening and enrolling and offering these courses to folks from the Michigan work systems, I think that those perspectives will really provide a very rich experience for all of the participants. So kind of the talking across systems feels like it's really a positive thing for both systems and really ultimately for students. So when you get your credentials and when you log in, you'll be taken to what we call the Kiwi catalog page. And basically, this is kind of like your course catalog. So you'll see that there are a number of different tiles that have kind of teaser information. When you click on one of the tiles, you will see that there's some important information. You can learn if you're specifically interested in accessing sketches, those continuing education credits. Each one of the tiles will tell you right up front if this is sketch eligible. Most of the courses, to be honest, are. It will also tell you if if the course is self-paced or if it is synchronous, if it is like a specific webinar, or if it has synchronous components, or if there's a begin end date for that course. So it's really, I think it's pretty clean looking. It's really easy to navigate. It's really easy to understand. When you click on that tile, you'll actually be brought to a kind of a full course description. You'll be able to see the specific learning objectives, and you'll see that there are these two places to enroll. So those blue buttons, when you hit the blue button, you'll actually be taken to a separate screen where you enroll. And that's all it takes, is really just 2 clicks. to enroll in the course. When you enroll in the course, this is kind of what your homepage will look like. Kiwi is powered by Canvas, so it is really pretty easy to navigate. There are a lot of really neat features in that you can link resources directly within articles. You can include recorded webinars or e-learning modules within the course. It's really organized. It's really easy to navigate. It's really easy to understand. All of the courses are interactive. There are clickable links. There are e-learning modules that are interactive, and there are recorded webinars and assignments in every course. And again, all of the Career Navigator courses are self-paced, so you can access them as you need. You can work on them as you have time. And that is if you are taking the courses for sketches, those sketches will follow you in your participation. From the home screen, you'll be brought to what we call the module screen. It looks like this. Again, it's laid out very cleanly. It's very obvious what you need to do in order to complete the course, to meet the course requirements. If you go into one of these pages, it looks like this. You'll see there are readings kind of for every topic. There are also embedded course links. This is an actually interesting example. I know that you can't see it, it's too small, but the embedded link here is a recorded webinar this is from the second course in the Career Navigator series, but this link will link you to a webinar from the first Career Navigator series in case you didn't take that and want to review the information. And then finally, there are recorded webinars throughout the courses. So before I go over next steps, are there any questions, any comments, any feedback?
I think there was just one question in the chat that I answered there, but it is just a great question about would Kiwi Access be available for contractors that have a grant with Michigan Works? And so that absolutely, would be included as well. So wanted to make sure that was clear. So thank you, Marcia, for that question. But I think that's all of the questions so far, Shana.
Thanks, Erica. And I just wanted to make sure that folks know this is, as with any PD opportunities, this is obviously not written in stone. This is actually meant to be kind of a living experience. So we have the professional development series that is kind of a work in progress. As new priorities come about, as situations change, we want to be responsive to any situations, any circumstances, any needs that may be new or pop up. So if you have any feedback about kind of the specific ways that we approach the competencies, or if you think that we're missing any huge kind of service gaps, or if there's something that's not being addressed, it's something that we want to know about, and then we can circle back and really make sure that this is a comprehensive experience that provides resources to folks in the field that they can use. So some next steps, if you are interested in the Career Navigator series, and if you are obviously in the Michigan Works system, I do recommend visiting Kiwi to get your free login credentials. Even if you don't have time now, you can get your credentials and start looking at what the courses are, what the offerings look like. You can enroll yourself and then put it kind of on your calendar to work on a little bit at a time. You can browse the Career Navigator and all of the PD course offerings that are on Kiwi. And again, as far as the Career Navigator series, don't feel like you have to take all of them at once. Don't feel like you have to take all of them at all. The series was really meant to be comprehensive, but also meant to be designed in a way that you can access the information that you need right now to provide services to students or to your customers. So are there any questions? Are there any comments? Is there any feedback?
And Sheena, thank you for adding that as far as, our professional development being really something that we view as living and not set in stone. And here's what we developed and here it is. I think, one of the things that we were excited to do this presentation this afternoon is to be able to get some feedback to say, here's what we've created to meet the priorities that we had, that have really come about in some of the new initiatives that we've seen. But, definitely like Sheena said, we're very interested in any feedback or reactions from those of you that are doing this every day. If there is anything that we missed or that you'd like to see, strengthened or done slightly different, we're definitely open to that and would appreciate that feedback. The vision that we've really had for approaching professional development at the state level is to support and strengthen what's happening locally. And so it's never meant to replace anything that might already be in existence. We're trying to highlight and trying to find where we see gaps and then fill those gaps. And so if there's something, that's existing that we could benefit from, so we'd appreciate information on that. And the other thing that I would add is, especially like Sheena said, for the career navigation, there's so much variation regionally, but then even within regions, between the programs, how these services are being done. And so while we may envision it as a career navigator, as one person that's doing it, we're also starting to realize it's almost professional development for how a system should operate, and it may be multiple people filling that role. And so I think we're just trying to understand how these services are being offered, how we can improve what's being offered, and especially as we're trying to help students making connections between adult education and Michigan Works, and where we may be, losing some or have some ways to strengthen those transitions. So just wanted to share that. Definitely would be willing to hear any feedback that any of you have if you want to put it in the chat or to share. So thank you again for your time.
I'm going to just push ahead just so you have contact information if you have questions for either of us. I don't want to speak for you, Erica, but if you have questions specifically about the Career Navigator series, please, by all means, get in touch with me. I would be more than happy to talk to you, to answer any questions, to provide any additional information. I am a teacher at heart, and so this has been the last year of teaching virtually. I feel like I'm constantly begging people to have conversations with me on email. So I am very responsive and love to have those conversations. Thanks, Cindy, and thanks, Renee. I look forward to seeing you in the courses. I am the person behind the screen, so.
And so we are happy. Oh, go ahead, Lily. I was going to say,
we'll give maybe another minute or so to see if there's any questions, and then we can wrap it up.
Absolutely. We can stick around, but definitely don't want to keep anyone if they have other things to get to. But thank you again for joining us this afternoon.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really do appreciate your time, and really think that having folks from both systems is going to be awesome.
Okay, not seeing any other questions in the chat box. This ends our presentation today, and I would like to thank our presenters. Thank you so much. You did an excellent job. We appreciate everyone's time. I hope that you had some great takeaways from today's session and that you have enjoyed the conference on its first day. Thank you for attending, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Bye, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye. Thank you. Thank you, Lily.
You're
Thanks,
very
Lily. I
welcome.
appreciate it.
Not a problem at all. Thanks, ladies.